Windfall, wonderful audience. We run, we win. This is James. And do not live through your sports teams. This is something I've noticed mostly with people in poverty, but it's really a serious thing because even though you live in a town or live near a city or live in a state, you cannot live through that sport team. I've heard a lot of people use the word we won the championship. In high school, it is we won the championship, especially if you were like, we were in marching. I was in marching band. We were in marching band. My brother and I were in marching band. You know, we represented the school. My sister was in ROTC. They helped put up the flag for the game. You were an active member of the school. So that means, we won. Same thing with colleges, just like college football, the University of Alabama. We attended the University of Alabama. My sister attended Central Missouri State University. We attended Rainbow Bible Training Center. So we can say we, you can say we when you were, a student. You're a student, you're alumni, you're graduate. That's what the we is about. We won, we did this, and that's where the we comes from. But when it's like, you can cheer on a team, but it's almost hard to say we, with the University of Alabama if you didn't go to the University of Alabama. That's what I'm trying to say. We denotes you're actually with, you're actually part of that team. You're part of the actual what happened? You're actually part of the family. That's what we is. We is you are part of the family. So when I say I don't care for the we thing, it's because, first of all, unless you're on the board, if you're not part of that, really part of that family, unless you're on the board of trustees getting paid to make decisions on that game, then you're not. It's really not a thing. You may have attended. You may live in the city, but unless you're like on the board, you're a part of the trustees, you're on staff, it's not really a we thing. That's almost like saying, you watch your favorite motion picture company, and then you talk about we. We'll say, let me see. I'm looking for a motion picture staff. Say Warner Brothers. You may like Warner Brothers, but you didn't pay for, and you probably weren't on staff for one of the latest TV shows or movies. So it'd be pretty hard for you to say we, look what we did and stuff like that with Warner Bros. Even though, if it breaks 3 million, worldwide in revenues. You really can't say we. That's like, you can't really say we with McDonald's. You sure paid for the food, but you can't say we. It's like you really can't say we if McDonald's does some great merger, It's not really a we thing. And that's what I've noticed. And a lot of poor people do it. This is we in our team. Now, this brings me to what I'm saying. Don't live through your team. First of all, you should not be wrapped up in anything that could actually cause you emotional distress. Because if you are mad when your team loses and you just have a bad attitude around home and your family and stuff like that, then you're living through your team. If your team wins and you're up and your team loses and you're down, you are living through your team. This is bad business and you oughtn't to be doing that. That's living through the team. So, your entire life is based off of how well they're doing. If they make it to the playoffs, you're happy. If they don't make it to the playoffs, you're mad, miserable. You're calling your family names and you just can't even take care of you just can't even control yourself. That's living through your team. So you don't want to do that. It's not a we thing or anything like that, but don't be living through the team as in, here's another thing. Further explanation is like, when the team is doing well, everything is right in life and you're enjoying life and you're like, oh, we're achieving something. Well, first of all, it's not a we, like I said, unless you're on the board and you're getting paid. So it's not really a we thing, but you can't pretend, and when I say pretend, you don't want to pretend life is great and wonderful and you're achieving all sorts of success just because your team won the championship. That's not how it works. You aren't really winning the championship. Does that make sense? Just because your team wins the championship and the yearly thing that's great, but that doesn't mean you need to not pursue your own dreams and goals. And that's how a lot of poor people get into this mistake, because these poor people, they're like, oh, as long as their basketball team is winning, they're happy with life. They're not pursuing anything. Yay, we can enjoy the championship. So they enjoy the championship and the team wins and they're, yay, we won. Then they go back to their mediocre job, that doesn't pay a lot, and they're still living in poverty. See, but they're living through their team, because when their team's doing well and winning all these games and stuff, they're like, yeah, our team. So it's misplaced. The only person you should be living through is God. In Him we live and move and have our being. If you're a parent, you can't live through your kids, because when your children leave home, or if your children don't do what they're supposed to do, I'll say this, if your children leave home or don't do what they're supposed to do, then your life and self-worth is based off of whether your children achieve this goal that you gave them, which isn't good, because you're putting pressure on them to satisfy your life. That is not how it works. Okay? You cannot let your child cannot, you can't live through your child. That's what parents do. They're living in poverty, but as long as their child is, on the sports team in school, they're happy. Hopefully that the kid will get a scholarship or something like that. That don't work, because in the long run, you're just living through the kid. That's it. Your life is miserable. You're poor. You're not achieving your goals and aspirations. So instead of, getting with God and getting that taken care of, you go the easy way out. You make your kid practice, basketball, football, baseball, or whatever, or a musical instrument. You're dumping all this on the child. Why? Because you're living through the kid, but that's that child's life, and you can't put pressure on them. So that's two different things. We talk about the school, we talk about this, we talk about that. So as a parent, you don't want to put the unnecessary pressure, but as a person, you can't pretend, this is my child, and you can't, it's like, this is my life. And does that make sense? It's not your life, it's not your team. I think I figured out how to kill these. Oh, that obviously was not how to do it. But anyways, so one, you can't live through your team, because if you live through your team and live in poverty, and then you just feel good because your team's winning, then sports end up being like sports is like a little drug for you. So you live in poverty, you got a cheap job that's not paying enough, and so you just put in your hours and then come home. You just come home, you put in your hours, you come home, and then you watch TV, and the sports team becomes a drug to you, because it makes you feel good. Does that make sense? It makes you feel good, and that don't work. Just same thing with your kids. You can't do it with your children either, right? You can't make you can't be living in poverty, miserable, not doing what you want to, and then your kid is doing, your kid plays sports, so you think he's achieving something, and so that makes you feel good. Well, the problem is your self-worth is placed in that child's performance, which is where we get all this unnecessary pressure that children have from their parents, and it won't work. Same thing with a television show. You can't be doing that with a television show either, my friends. You can't be like, life is bad, and you have a job you don't want and junk like that, and then you just go home and watch your TV. That's like a drug. Have you considered that? That's basically what it is. It's a drug. And so you don't want to live through your kids. You don't want to live through your team. You don't want to live through your television show. Get with God. Get it fixed. Enjoy life. And then enjoy your team. Enjoy your child's life. And enjoy the television show. And remember, live, move, be.